Harper, Ranking Member Capito, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I'm Emily Skor, CEO of Growth Energy, the world's largest biofuel trade association. The RFS remains the nation's most successful clean energy policy, yet its full potential as a climate solution remains untapped. For the past 8 years, a lack of accountability and failure to comply with the law has slowed progress on carbon reductions. But today, as Congress looks to immediately reduce the carbon intensity of our nation's transportation fleet, it is imperative that biofuels like ethanol, the most affordable and abundant source of low-carbon, high-octane fuel on the planet, are part of our transportation mix now and into the future. Let me be clear, there is no path toward net zero emissions by 2050 without biofuels. 98% of the cars on the road today use liquid fuels, and EIA projects that gasoline or flex fuel-powered vehicles will dominate new vehicle sales through 2050. We can achieve progress on carbon reductions with today's infrastructure, today's vehicles, and a homegrown supply chain through a robust and binding renewable fuel standard and acceleration toward nationwide year-round use of lower-cost biofuels like E15. To date, the RFS has reduced almost 1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions. Expanded use of low-carbon biofuel cuts emissions and air pollution, drives energy innovation and economic growth, creates biomanufacturing jobs, and lowers gas prices for American drivers. But since 2013, the RFS has consistently been undermined through the abuse of waivers, small refinery exemptions, and compliance deadline extensions. Most of these administrative actions have been to appease the unfounded claims of a select few looking to subvert the RFS, slowing progress on carbon reductions. EPA's recent proposals, delayed as they are, right some of these wrongs. They include the required 15 billion gallons of conventional biofuel in 2022, a long overdue remedy for EPA's unlawful 2016 general waiver, and an end to the abuse of small refinery exemptions. Despite these positives, EPA takes a major step backward by seeking to reduce the 2020 blending obligations finalized 2 years ago. This retroactive change exceeds the agency's authority and creates market disruption and uncertainty. EPA needs to fix and finalize the proposals as soon as possible. Looking forward to achieve our shared clean energy goals, we need year-round access to higher blends of ethanol like E15. Nationwide E15 would slash CO2 emissions by more than 17 million tons, support more than 180,000 new jobs, and save consumers more than $12 billion in annual fuel costs. Unfortunately, refiners successfully sued to prevent E15 from being sold in the summer throughout much of the country. Not only have they deprived consumers of a lower-cost fuel, they eliminated an easy path for their own RFS compliance. Without immediate action, consumers will lose access to their most affordable fueling option on June 1, when Americans drive the most. Congress and EPA must restore market access so drivers can save up to 10 cents per gallon every time they fuel up with E15. In addition to reducing emissions in light-duty vehicles, biofuels are poised to play a greater role in decarbonizing other forms of transportation. And biorefineries are already deploying carbon capture and wind and solar energy and incentivizing sustainable farming practices, all to drive further innovation and further reductions in our carbon intensity. We see promise in new and emerging low-carbon fuel markets in hard-to-electrify sectors like aviation, marine, and heavy-duty vehicles. To lead our nation through a clean energy transition, we must have a healthy and thriving biofuel industry. We must have a strong and growing RFS. We must move toward E15 as the nation's standard fuel. Don't be fooled. The RFS does not harm refiners. 3 administrations and the courts have affirmed this. Claims to the contrary are just a smokescreen to divert attention away from clean, affordable American energy. Undermining the RFS and delaying the rollout of E15 means increasing gas prices for American consumers, period. Gas prices are driven by the price of crude, not the cost of the RFS. America's farmers and biofuel producers are ready to work with the administration and Congress to restore E15 and put the RFS back on track. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.